Can I move now, in the brief time that's left to me, to the phase 2 of the fugitives study? So I'm not talking about the Surat Basin Fluxes report, phase 2, although I am interested in that, but there's no time, unfortunately, to go through that. I'm talking about the Environment Department funded CSIRO research into fugitives from CSG, which is meant to help assess the true climate impacts of the leaks that happen with coal seam gas and other unconventional gas. So when is the phase 2 report scheduled to be complete?
So we have completed the scientific work and have submitted the report to the Department of Environment and Energy.
Okay, when did you submit that?
I would have to take that on notice.
Okay, can you give me a rough indication?
I honestly don't know.
Okay,
but
thank you.
I will certainly provide that to you.
Thank you. So that's with the Minister now, as far as you know?
With the Department, that's correct, yes.
Okay. Have you discussed with the Department whether they'll be funding for phase 3 of that research?
Yes, as far as I'm aware of, we will be doing phase 3. In fact, phase 3 work has already started, which is some of the more longer-term measurement of background methane emissions.
Okay, so can you just outline for me specifically what the scope of phase 3 will cover and also how much funding is associated with it?
Again, I would have to take those questions on notice.
Okay, but you said it was about long-term background ambient emissions?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, how does that interact with the Surat Basin Flux report then, which I understand is comparing ambient methane with whether it's natural or incurred? Is there any interaction between those two studies?
What we would certainly try to do is maximise the synergies between those two pieces of work, because I guess in an environment where there's ultimately limited funding to achieve the maximum benefit to the specifics of how those two pieces integrate, I'm very happy to take that on notice.
Thank you, because that Surat Basin report is 2/3 funded by industry. So I would be concerned if there was a close interaction with phase 3 of the supposedly independent government-funded study. So thank you. I'll await that with great interest. So phase 3's begun. Do you know what time frame you're operating to for the completion of phase 3?
Again, Senator, I would have to take that on notice.
Okay, and can you just confirm for me my understanding that given that stage 1 is now complete and public stage 2 has been submitted to the department, that so far the areas of CSG production that haven't been studied by CSIRO in relation to fugitives are water gathering and treatment infrastructure and decommissioned wells? Is that correct, and are there any other areas that also still haven't been studied?
I will take that on notice and I will give you an overview of what hasn't been covered yet.
Thank you. So do we yet have a full picture to be able to say with any confidence what the life cycle fugitives of CSG are?
So, Senator, we have an emerging picture, but I would certainly not call it a full picture yet. Okay. As we have seen from the initial pieces of work, and I guess we discussed in different fora the limitations of those.
Yes.
We have seen comparatively low emissions, but I would certainly say that we need to do more work to fully substantiate that.
Okay, so will phase 3 complete the picture, or will there be other areas that will still need to be looked at after phase 3 in order to get that full picture?
As you would appreciate in research, there's always more work that needs to be done, but certainly the work will be, I would say, a substantive step forwards in our understanding of fugitive methane emissions from coal seam gas.
Okay, so in relation, my final question, thank you. In relation to Australia's current emissions factors, which obviously I hope will be influenced by the findings of all of the phases of this study, does CSIRO normally have any input into the process of reviewing those emissions factors as a matter of course? And if so, has the government already asked you to start turning your mind to that, given, as you say, there seems to be quite a lot of doubt over the accuracy of our current emissions figures about fugitives from CSG?
So again, I would like to take, or I can take the detail of that question on notice. We don't have a formal role in this process, but I'm certainly aware that in other areas, for example, fugitive emissions from open cut coal mining activities, CSIRO has played a critical role in determining those emissions factors and measurement methods.
So why the different approach to coal mines versus CSG?
It's a very different process in which methane emissions get released. So in an open cut coal mine, you effectively dig a big hole and then expose the coal seam, and it basically vents into the air.
Yes, but why would CSIRO be involved with that and not with the calculation of CSG emissions factors?
Then I just gave this as an example where we have been involved.
Yes.
And so I'm aware that there have certainly been informal discussions held to the extent in which we are part of a formal process. I would have to take on notice.
If you could provide me as much detail about those discussions as you can, I'd be much appreciated.
Delighted to.
Thank you.